This video is brought to you by the Deck of Many and their big Black Friday sale, and by the Roll for Combat Actual Play podcast and their Agents of Edgewatch adventure. Hello and welcome back to the Gallant Goblin. I've got a big one for you today. As you can see, this is the D&D Icons of the Realms Tower by WizKids. Many thanks to them for sending it to us to review with you. This is the largest single product that we've seen from them, and I'm just really excited to open it up and share it with you. It arrives fully painted like all the Icons of the Realms minis, but there's a bit of assembly involved, as you might guess from the shape of the box here. Towers are ubiquitous in D&D adventures, from Von Richten's Tower in Curse of Strahd to Archon's Tower in Descent into Avernus, all the way to the lonely hill giant hiding out in that broken tower in Storm King's Thunder. So you should get a ton of use out of this massive set. Plus, I'm going to give you some resources to use if your party wants to build a tower of their own in-game. So to start with, let's open up this box and see what's inside. Here you can see exactly what comes in the box. It looks at first like a box of random puzzle pieces, but of course the set does come with a little set of instructions that's easy enough to follow. But let me show you the exact process for assembling it. Let's start off with the bottom floor of the tower. We've got the central entranceway piece with a set of double doors that do open and close. We just need to connect the 6 wall pieces together here to form the ground floor wall structure. Then we can plop in the gridded double-sided cardboard floor piece. Interestingly, this is the exact process used for constructing wizards' towers in the real world too. The floor piece has little notches on opposite sides that align with little protrusions on the walls to make sure that the floors do stay in place. The 2 sides of the stone floor here are essentially identical. One side just has a printed grid on top of the floor design, but the other side doesn't. But because the floor is kind of gridded already, it's really hard to tell the difference except along the outside frame of the floor there. The second floor of the tower here only has 4 separate wall pieces that are all pretty easy to slot together. Then we have these window features that slot right in as well. You can, of course, choose to leave them out if you like. This is useful if you want to have a sort of moon door to shove traitors out of, or perhaps you can remove the windows to symbolize damage done to the wall by siege weapons. Then we just plop the next floor right inside. The box includes 4 of these floor panels. 2 are full circular floors, 1 wood and 1 stone, and the other 2 are just wooden landings that are open in the middle. So you can choose whichever ones you want on the inside of your tower. Next we have the 3rd floor, obviously. Again, it's a very simple process to connect the 4 walls together. We can place the floor inside and then we attach the roof. The roof has these stone walkways and supports that are removable, as well as the little plastic dome which is also removable. Then we fit together the flexible acolyte statues and attach them around the perimeter, and we're done with the top of the tower. Let's cut away quickly and take a closer look at those statues that circle the roof of the tower. There are 3 different sculpts for the statue that repeats with 20 statues in all. And they stand up on their own, as you can see here, as long as you give them a little bit of a bend. So if you want to use them on the battlefield directly, you can certainly do that. There are 2 pairs of matching sets of 5 statues each that have different connectors on the bottom for when you connect them to the roof. This is just done to make sure you alternate them, to make sure that the pattern of statues doesn't become irregular around the roof. Now let's put on the finishing touches. I'm adding the staircases in here first, which are all freestanding and can be placed anywhere you like. The various levels simply stack on top of each other. And then we just need to attach the 7 buttresses around the outside of the tower, which is a very simple affair. The roof actually has some nodules in the bottom to make sure it sits securely on top of the 3rd story, so you may have to twist it around a bit to find that right fit. One interesting thing, you do end up with 1 leftover floor tile. None of the pictures show the roof as having a wooden floor on it, and it probably wouldn't hold up so well in the elements anyway, but you can certainly put it up there if you want to have a gridded space for combat. You can use the open landing floor, in which case it works best if you put the skylight on top of the floor. You can also just use the stone walkways as they are, which could also make for a pretty precarious battle. And finally, if you like, you can forego the skylight entirely entirely and use either the wooden floor or the stone floor up there on the roof to give you a lot of space for a battle. And with those floors, you have the room and stability to put even massive bosses up there, like the adult white dragon. If you want a very large tower, you can buy 2 tower sets and double up on the second and third stories to make a 5-story tower with a roof. Another thing to note, you can place the roof section right on top of the ground floor to make a single-story building that looks rather like a mage's guild or a fancy magic shop to me. Though note that you can't really use the buttresses along with the roof there due to the roof's overhang. And this is a good opportunity to show you that the door section itself is removable as well if you need a tower that just has a massive hole in one of the walls. Useful if your party lacks a lock-picking rogue, but does have a demolition expert. So let's see how we might use this tower in a battle. As your heroes approach, they may be able to get a glimpse of what's happening on the roof, especially if the wizard's cockatiel familiar flies overhead to see that Mama Yeti causing a disturbance. But then, they'll be entering quietly through the ground floor through that functional front door. So we just pop off the upper 2/3 of the tower to give our players access to that ground floor map, where they find Papa Yeti defending his family's tower. After the party fights their way to the second floor, we can remove the upper third of the tower to reveal Barry Manisnow playing with his buddy Jason Alex Salamander. Okay, they can't all be winners. Finally, our heroes manage to get to the top story, where the Frost Maiden herself awaits with her team of Duragar. But if your heroes decide to land on the roof and work their way down, it's just as easy to remove one section at a time as they gain access to each level and descend through the tower. You can even have them split the party, with half going through the top and half going through the front door, while keeping the middle section hidden. And if they send someone up to peek through one of the windows, and maybe they roll particularly well, you can just invite the player to lean in and peek through the window themselves if you like. Next, let's take a closer look at those staircases. All 3 are identical. Like the staircases in the Stairs and Ladders Warlock Tile set, these have 3 regularly spaced notches per staircase, so your minis can actually stand on them. While Warlock Tiles hasn't done too much with elevation builds just yet, though I expect them to pretty soon, the staircases here could also work with your Dwarven Forge elevation builds. Most of my Dwarven Forge is packed up for our upcoming move, but you can get a sense of how they look with our Caverns Deep set here. The stairs are about 4 inches tall. Now, finally, let's take a look at how it looks on the table with some of our other familiar minis and terrain to use as a size reference as we talk about possible uses for the tower. As you can imagine, towers show up in a lot of published adventures, including Rise of Tiamat, Storm King's Thunder, Curse of Strahd, Sleeping Dragon's Wake, Out of the Abyss, among many others. Of course, those towers aren't all the same and don't necessarily match this tower's layout, but you can always adjust things and use some creativity to make it work. For example, you can add rooms to the sides of the tower that aren't necessarily on the structure itself, saying that the tower on the table just represents the central features of the real structure. Then you can add some freestanding doors from the WizKids Doors and Archways set to indicate where you would enter those rooms, and you can build the rooms using your Warlock tiles and other terrain off to the sides of your battle map. Now, what if your players want to build their own Wizard's Tower? Well, you can do that with Matt Colville's Strongholds and Followers book, which gives you options for building and upgrading a Wizard's Tower, as well as a keep, a temple, an establishment, and other kinds of strongholds. We haven't reviewed this book just yet, but if your party enjoys having a base of operations that has gameplay effects and that can be upgraded and customized, this is certainly one of the best unofficial 5e D&D supplements for that. I've been pushing my own home game party to make their keep for a while, to build theirs up, just because I want to see what it's like and get some of that gameplay experience from that. So whenever I get that, maybe I'll report back to you. We'll throw a link to the book in the video description down below. And as you might imagine, the tower here isn't cheap. It has an MSRP of $249, though I am seeing some pre-order discounts available out there. It's scheduled for release in December 2020. Now, this is another set that absolutely isn't necessary to have an amazing game. But if you've got some money and you want to throw something really memorable at your players, this is certainly a fantastic, well thought out, and versatile set that should make for some amazing games. Plus, the fact that it can be taken apart makes it much easier to store between sessions. If you've got any questions about the tower, please leave them for me in the comment section down below. And while you're there, let me know what other large structures you'd like to see from WizKids. We've got the excellent sailing ship, we've got the bridge, and now the tower. What do you want to see next? We want to thank our sponsors for this video. First, the Deck of Many and their mega Black Friday sale going on now. If you are looking for a way to support us here at the Gallant Goblin while getting some awesome stuff for a great price, this is your chance. If you go to thedeckofmany.com/GG2020, that's GG for Gallant Goblin, you can access their Black Friday marketplace, and they'll know that we sent you there. You can pick up Humblewood, big bad booklets, awesome reference cards, and animated reference cards, Sina Una, which is the next big thing. Seriously, check it out. Griffin's Saddlebag Magic item books and cards, and Epic Legacy, a book that adds levels 21 to 30 to your 5e games, letting you play really epic adventures. And you can use the coupon code GG2020 to get free shipping on orders of $50 or more. So going to thedeckofmany.com/GG2020 and using the code GG2020 will let you get some awesome stuff and let the Deck of Many know that their sponsorship of the Gallant Goblin was a good idea. So go check it out. Next, we have the Roll for Combat Actual Play podcast and their Agents of Edgewatch adventure. I've talked about how their Agents of Edgewatch adventure is just a fun show to listen to about a bunch of new Absalom City Watch agents patrolling the Centennial Radiant Festival while a nefarious plot begins to take shape in the background. But it's also a fantastic way to learn Pathfinder 2nd Edition. The GM, Stephen Glicker, takes the time to explain how you can use Pathfinder to create extraordinarily unique characters and tell adventures in a different way than what you normally do with D&D. And the players walk through their thought process as they level up their characters. We're still in the early days of this particular adventure, but if you want to binge listen to another 2nd edition adventure, they also have their 3-ring adventure series, which is a bit further along. Go check out all their exciting series at rollforcombat.com and let them know we sent you. I also want to thank you for all the support you've given to the Ettenstone Kickstarter that we featured recently, and I really appreciate you letting them know in their Kickstarter comments section that you learned about them from us. That just meant the world to me. Thank you. And as I'm trying to transition to working on this channel full time, I'm going to have to convince potential sponsors that the Gallant Goblin is a worthwhile channel to work with, and that we have an audience that's ready to support us and them as well. So those little gestures go a long way, and they're really appreciated. As always, you can join us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for news and deals and previews of what's to come. For now, though, please stay safe, have fun, love each other, and I'll see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.